Xavier Hunter, and I'm here with a certified killer in the court, WNBA All-Star, All-Phase Aces, Kayla McBride. What's going on, Kayla?
What's up?
Hey, man, living life, living, you know. So during this quarantine period, it's been hard for everyone. Especially as an athlete, we know that you guys need to have a daily routine with your workouts and everything like that. So at first, how easy or difficult it was for you to get a workout in?
I think everybody's a little different. People who came back from overseas, people who like myself weren't overseas. I had already been working out on my own. So I think in that time, it's kind of like you don't know when this is ever going to happen again, right? The quarantine being locked in, and after playing overseas year round, basically for 6 years, I kind of felt like I need to give myself a little bit of a break. But as that athlete and as somebody who was so used to being in the gym and always moving, always going, it was hard for me to not be doing that. So I had to kind of find that balance in trying to relax and spend time with my family, my people, and still remembering that there was a season whenever it was coming ahead. So I think, like I said, everybody's different. Everybody has families and different situations and stuff like that. But for the most part, I mean, I spent a lot of time with myself, a lot of time with people that I cared about. But basketball was always in the back of my mind. I think that was the most important thing.
That's good. At least you found a way to have a balance and just try to keep yourself productive in some
Yeah,
way.
for sure.
So, so since you're working out, what do you think was your greatest improvement during the off season so far?
Definitely the mental part of it. I think everybody, you've been playing basketball since you're 5 years old. It never changes. Like I can literally go outside right now and take the ball, and the hoop's always 10 feet. The floor is however big. So, I wanted to focus on the other aspect and kind of bring myself back to that peaceful mindset and the mental toughness aspect that you hear a lot of athletes talking about now. I think with all the anxiety that can come with being a professional athlete. It's something that we have to talk about more. And I posted something maybe like 2 months ago, just about where I was at through quarantine, and just being able to take that step back and kind of look within. And you're not always going to like what you see, not all the parts of it. Being able to work on those parts that maybe were holding me back, even on the court, but also as becoming a better woman and a better sister, a better friend. Um, and I think just being on the other side of that, even though it was really hard and there was days that were really tough, the mental aspect was so important for me every single day that now I can sit back and say that I'm more ready than ever, physically and mentally, for this upcoming season, no matter what it has to throw at me.
That's great because that comes up to my next question. I was going to ask you, how is like going through that period uh, made you better for, or made you more prepared for this upcoming season, being in the bubble, being away with the different
Yeah.
conditions?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think overseas prepared me more than anything. Just knowing that you kind of have to adjust to the world around you and kind of take a step back and kind of go with the flow. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. There's going to be things changing constantly. But I think the biggest thing that I've taken from quarantine is just to always remember to give some time back to myself. I think sometimes we can get so caught up in the things that aren't happening that we stop focusing on the things that we can give to ourselves each and every day. So being able to do that, provide myself with that, no matter where it is on this earth or what's going on, I think that's going to be the basis for me. And then just remembering that I get a chance to play professionally. I get a chance to play against the best in the world, um, somewhere in the world, and that's really all that matters to me as a competitor. And just being able to go and hoop again, I think that's a lot of the reason why we were so ready. And you see the NBA guys like, I mean, we're just going to do a bid, you know what I'm saying? Because we're going at the end of the day, it's going to be hoop. We're going to have to adjust to certain things and meals and living conditions or whatever. But to be able to say I get to hoop again soon, in that kind of environment, I'm looking forward to it.
Facts. It's just one giant basketball camp on some real.
Exactly. Summer camp, really. It's like, yeah, it's going to be dope. It's going to be a lot like pickup. But for me, I think it's going to bring the joy back to the game, the purest form of the game. Just competition and having fun and going at each other. And it's going to be no fans. It's going to be like rolling the ball out and playing to 11 back like when you're growing up. So I'm looking forward to that aspect. That's how I grew up. So that excites me. And so just trying to put myself in those positive mindsets going into it, and go from there.
That's great. So going back to how you grew up, where did you love for basketball again? You said you started playing when you was about 5 years old or so. So how did it all start?
Yeah, so my dad was a referee my whole life, and he loved Michael Jordan. So that was a huge thing. I grew up a North Carolina Tar Heel fan, Chicago Bulls, whatever, which is crazy, right? Because that was my dream school, and they didn't even recruit me. But for
Wow.
me, I know, isn't that crazy to look back on it? Uh, for me, when I really fell in love with the game, Charlie Ward, and this is the reason why we're 21, actually. Charlie Ward, he was a Heisman Trophy winner for Florida State, and he played for the Knicks. I don't know why he always came up to Erie, Pennsylvania, this little dot on the map, but he ran an all boys camp. But my dad was one of the coaches up there. So for like a week straight, they would bring kids from New York and Ohio, kids from my hometown, and they would be in this like little environment. We had like this place called Family First Sports Park up in my hometown, and I would just be hooping all day. And like I couldn't even necessarily get in all the drills, but just being around it and just sitting there and trying to mimic moves or getting in like playing the kids one on one. As a female, that was like where I think I learned my competitiveness from, where I got it from. I loved beating them. I loved, you know, having to adjust and the pressure of it, the pressure of, maybe being down a couple points and trying to get back into it, or being up and being able to like, stand my ground. I think that's really where I got that chip on my shoulder from. Is I can like literally remember those games and those moments, even to this day. So that was where I fell in love with the game. That's where I got my number. So a lot of me and who I've become as a hooper started there, and I'm very thankful for that because that's playing against guys growing up. I think helped me along the way a lot.
Do you think Charlie Ward was your biggest influence on the game, or was there other players?
Um, I wouldn't say necessarily influence. I would say, um, from the faith aspect, yes, just because of the conversations that he had with my father and that my dad tried to give to us. He used to have a clothing brand called G First, God First, and I thought that was so cool. Like I used to use it for my passwords for like AIM and stuff. You know how like the stuff that was really important to you when you're little, you made it your password for everything, or like it was
Like
your
safe
AIM
stage
or
and
whatever.
everything.
Yeah, yeah, everything. So that was like I think the first time that I realized that your faith could go alongside with athletics. I mean, I don't know if that even makes sense, but and then
Yeah, it does.
also, yeah, and then also just the way that he carried himself. I think as a pro, he was always so humble, and he was so willing to sit down and talk to you and ask you how you were doing. He still reaches out to me on Facebook now. He's a football coach down in Florida now, but he still reaches out to me now. Like remember me as this 8-year-old kid, just dribbling around and trying to get everybody's attention and watch me, shoot and dribble. It's cool. And I think he's followed my career. So that's cool, I think, from the humble aspect. But as far as influences, Michael Jordan was a huge one. Kobe Bryant, Ray Allen, um, Brandon Roy, just the players that I used to watch all the time. And then the ones that I watch now, like the CJ McCollums, the Bradley Beals, I'm still trying to implement their types of games into mine. I think they're very similar. And on the female side, Tamika Catchings, how she handled herself on and off the court was just OG status, GOAT status at all times. The way she played, how hard she played, the amount of respect that she had from her fans and her team and her coach, and just the way that she carried herself. She was an Olympian all around in life, and I think that that's something that everybody should try to be like. Um, and then like my peers now, being able to play against Diana is huge, and getting the respect from her, huge, because it's monumental. When you grow up, Maya Moore, when you grow up watching them, I competed against them, or watching the Notre Dame UConn rivalries and then being part of it. Watching those players, even though they may be on the other team, idolizing some parts of their game. And I think as a pro now, you try to take bits and pieces from different games that you see, and make them somewhat into your own. I think that's what the best players do. I don't think that I think that they always diversify. And so, always just talking to Diana, like, what do you see at Olympic camps or stuff like that? Just watching how she moves, like in her workouts and how she moves with her teammates, like all those things add up. And, taking the time even now during this quarantine to sit back and realize and reflect all the people that I've been able to come across, and the influence that I have, it's so huge. So, yeah, no, definitely them. I have a lot of influence. Because like I try to take bits and pieces from everybody. But yeah.
Wow, that's really crazy that you say Brandon Roy, because I do kind of
Mhm.
see that in your game, and not many people really mention Brandon Roy as like one of their favorite players growing up or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
biggest player, Brandon Roy.
because of his knee injuries. Like, and if his knee injuries wouldn't have happened, I don't think it's the same thing like with Derrick Rose thing. Like we talked about Derrick Rose, but Derrick Rose like stuck around or whatever. But Brandon Roy was like, I can't do this anymore. People kind of like it's the same with the Grant Hills, and it's the same with the Penny Hardaways. Like these dudes, their careers were cut way too short. And those are the type of players that I wish we could have seen more of. Brandon Royce, because man, that dude could go. And he had that. He
Yeah,
just had it. He just had some swag about his game that he knew what to do. He just had that feel for the game, and I loved watching that.
yeah, definitely. I remember being about like 8, 9, 10 years old watching him, and he was dropping like 50, 60. I'm like, yo, like, and
Yeah,
he's just like monotone. He's mad chill at the same time. I was like, yeah, yeah, he's a problem for real, just off strength of that.
for real. Yeah, and he was with the Blazers. Like, they were still trying to find their way or whatever. But he was nice, man. He was nice.
Oh, so you say you talked to Diane Taurasi a few times, talked to different players throughout the league. What would you say was the biggest piece of advice so far that she's gave you? You could be either on or off the court.
From Diana,
Yeah,
um, I wouldn't say necessarily advice. It would be because when you start playing against players like your people that we might look up to, there's conversations that you have, but it's more so you watch how they move. You watch how they go about their job, and they go about how they treat their teammates and their coaches and their swag. And I've always been drawn to Diana's swag and how she moves. Like the amount of respect her peers have for her shows, this is something that you want to be, so you got to emulate some part of that. So, I remember when I first got in the league, like being terrified, like not terrified, I ain't gonna say that, I ain't gonna give that to her, but just being like, damn, like it's Diana Taurasi, like
it's like that aura
Taurasi.
around
Yeah,
her.
it's like if somebody was to go play against Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant for us, that's what it is like for us. So I come in as a rookie, and she's physical, man, and she's elbowing me, and she's this, she's that. But then like off the court, she's just like, hey, like how are you? She's called me Irish. I remember at USA camp, like I was like what 20 years old, not like I was like still a college kid at the USA camp. She's like, okay, Irish, whatever. But like just knowing that I got that respect from her, or like that she noticed, the work that I was putting in. Same with Candace Parker. Like I remember after my first USA camp, she like mentioned that I was like built for the league and ready for the league, the most ready that she had seen. Like getting those types of things doesn't have to be a one-on-one conversation, but just knowing that they move that way and they see that in you, it gives you that much more confidence to continue to be who you're meant to be at the professional level. And I have so much respect for those types of players who don't just like maybe shy away from like the younger generation, but want to build them up. That's huge, because now I know that if Diana Taurasi and Candace Parker can build me up, I'm gonna be able to build up, our rookies and the younger players around me, whether it's overseas or here. And I have had battles against Diana overseas in the league, and like that stuff I'll remember forever. It's like, dang, like I'm
Right.
competing at the highest level with the GOAT, like the GOAT in our league, So for sure, like, man, it's crazy. But just watch how she moves and her swag and how she demands what she demands of her teammates, she demands of herself. So yeah, she's dope.
So you played college at Notre Dame, which is
Hmm.
already like a premier basketball school for women's basketball. Can you describe like how being there at such a tough university prepared you for the league?
Oh gosh, I have so many reasons. But I think it starts with Coach McGraw and the way that she treated us. She treated us as grown women from the time you get there, and she holds us accountable for life. You know what I'm saying? Not just the basketball part, not just the academic part, but how we speak to fans and how we carry ourselves, the way that we're speaking to people, looking them in the eye, shaking hands, things like that. Those those um those lessons go way far beyond just basketball. But if we're talking strictly basketball, um I played with the best, like some of the best women that are in the league now. The Natalie Chalmers, the Jewel Lloyds, the Skylar Diggins. I mean, the Natalie Novosells, the Deborah Peters. Like I played with them, my entire career. So having that and always having that competitive edge, I think I carried that with me into the league. And having those battles with UConn, obviously, but just being there, representing the Irish and knowing what that represents and what Coach McGraw was trying to represent. I think that kind of got instilled a little bit in all of us in different ways. But for me specifically, just knowing that, just humbling myself, working hard, respecting the people around me, and just carrying that chip on my shoulder, like never settling to just be good, always going for being great. It doesn't matter what it is, on the court or off the court.
So like you can definitely say there is a sisterhood that's carried into the league from Notre Dame. Like compared to the men's basketball with Duke and like North Carolina, you can definitely say there's something
Hmm.
similar there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we look out for each other, on and off the court. I'm still really cool with Skylar. Like I'm looking forward to seeing her in the bubble, and her journey with her new journey with Phoenix, with her family and everything like that. But it's just the undoubted respect and love that we have for each other, because we've seen each other at our worst. We've seen each other where we're scratching, clawing, trying to fight for playing time, trying to fight for championships. But there's a whole other side of that. There's the going to lunch together, there's going to the parties together, there's riding the buses together, getting on the airplane together. And that's like having both sides. I could pick up the phone and call any of them right now and they'd be like, "What's up, K-Mac?" You know what I'm saying? Because it's just, we have that love and that camaraderie forever. And that's something that we decided that we were going to do a long time ago.
That's amazing. That's really amazing that you guys still
Yeah.
have that
Oh
connection.
yeah. No, for sure, for sure. And I love competing against her. Hopefully, one day we can play again together, whether it's USA or whatever. But yeah, no, the amount of love and respect I have for the women that I've played with at Notre Dame is, can't even put it into words, really.
So moving forward to the NBA, WNBA bubble,
Hmm.
you said that you're somewhere else for the time being, and then you have to go in Florida, stay for a little bit before you head into playing.
Yeah, so I'm at a hotel offsite. I'm actually in Bradenton. I'm here. I'm, whatever. I made it finally after all of my delays and stuff. Um, and then I'll be moved to IMG. I think I have to stay for 3 days, do my testing. It's just the protocol that the league has, and I have a couple days of like self quarantine there. And then I get to jump in, but my team will already be practicing, so I'll basically just be jumping right into practice, which I'm excited about. But my team's aware. I had to go home for some personal issues, and then it's off to the races, hopefully, and just kind of jumping right back on it. I think the rest of the league started practice today, so I'm just looking forward to being back on the floor with my teammates. I'm just looking, it's crazy because you go and you do something every day for your whole life, and all of a sudden it stops, and you miss the little things like just showing up to practice and just having those moments with your teammates, whether it's good or bad, and getting to practice, coming home from practice, being in the training room, all those things, like you do miss it. And there's a part of me that does really, really miss it, and I'm looking forward to it.
Hey, can't wait to see you back on the court.
Yeah.
So, so far we've seen players from both WNBA and NBA reveal their rooms and things going on with their bubbles. And
Hmm.
I tweeted and said that everybody's showing their rooms like they're back on college campus again. So they said that in the men's that they have like the 2K room, the players lounge, like all that like extravagant stuff, but it doesn't really mention anything for the women's. If you have any knowledge, like what things are in place for you guys that can give you guys some type of a normal lifestyle.
Yeah, so they did mention a players lounge. I don't know the extent of it. I still think that they're working things out as they kind of go. But I think the league's gonna do the best that they possibly can for us. Um, and I think at the end of the day, like we have to remember that we're here to hoop. And I don't mean to say it like that, but like, yes, there's gonna be times where we need to have that escape and things like that. And I know that the league will be able to provide that in whatever way that they possibly are able to. It may not be at the extent of the NBA, but we're not the NBA, and that's something that you gotta just have to come to terms with. But having this space to be able to go and hoop, I think is the number one thing on my mind. I got my game with me, so I know I can play whenever. And so just keeping that in mindset and keeping that in perspective is that some people don't have jobs right now. Some people are struggling. Some people are doing whatever. So to be able to come out of this quarantine and have a job and be able to go and hoop again, I think that that's just the most positive thing that I can take from it.
Right. And that's the only way you think about it and keep it pushing that way.
Yeah, keep it positive, right?
So if you have any concerns, do you have any for the season, playing wise or
Um,
just living wise?
I think my only concern would just be like, to maintain the healthy, environment that we want to. Obviously, COVID is kind of unpredictable, and so to say that we're gonna go in here and we're gonna try to confine ourselves to this bubble, I just hope that we're able to do that because I think everybody wants to play and everybody wants to be a part of it. But obviously, we know, so much yet so little about COVID that we don't really know. What's going to happen. So I think taking it just day by day. But like I said, just trying to focus on the positive. But I think the number one thing for everybody and most people, even the people who may have opted out, was just the health aspect of it. And just, I think we're going to be able to still keep the conversation going with the Black Lives Matter and, all those different types of things. That's so important to so many of us being 80% Black league. And I think that we're going to continue to find great ways to keep the conversation going and do the things that we can. Our president, Nneka Ogwumike, is amazing. And I know that she's working behind the scenes to make sure that everything stays where it needs to be, where a lot of us and a lot of our hearts are right now.
No doubt. So I've seen the proposal about having different names on the back of you guys' jerseys and the shirts like that. Recently, the MLS, the Philadelphia Union, their players had the victims that were of police brutality on like their jerseys as well. So hopefully we see something similar from you guys.
Yeah, I think we're talking about the Black Lives Matter shirts and then basically having a band with Breonna Taylor's name. That has to go through like several layers before, we have so many amazing ideas from so many amazing women in our league. And now we have to find the right one that gets our message across and also portrays what we wanted to portray as a league. I think we have a different type of message. We've always been very outspoken about equality, whether it be gender or anything like that. So having this, I think we take this very seriously. So I wouldn't see us making a decision until right when we need to, because we're going to make sure we have to go through all of the steps to make sure we get it right.
And for lack of a better term, I would say it's perfect timing with Maya Moore's success. She's not playing, but she's been working with the case with Jonathan Irons. So having the success with that, I would say it's great to have that come at a time where the season beginning and keep the momentum going forward with everything.
Yeah, and I'm so proud to say that I've been able to play against Maya and be a peer and be a fan because she's so much more than a basketball player. And I think so much of what she's done has been surrounded by, her success on the court. But I think, having the guts to step away from the game that everybody knows you as and knowing that you're calling from God is bigger than that, and going and doing something the way that she did it, it's admirable. And I told her that when I saw her at USA, we were playing up in Connecticut, and I said, "Man, I'm so proud of you," And I know I'm like younger than her, and she has all these medals and championships and stuff like that. But I'm so proud of you, and I'm so proud to say that I've worked alongside of you because, and this was even before anything happened, but just the fact that she chose to do that in the way that she chose to do it, and the reason she chose to do it, is admirable, and it takes a lot of heart and guts and prayer, and and I'm so happy for her because you can see that she's doing the things that she's meant to be doing, and for an amazing man as well. So she's just denting the surface of what she's gonna do to help change this world, and I'm really proud of her.
Yeah, for sure. I really want to see what's next for her because
I know.
This is just getting the ball going now. I know she's working really hard, so
yeah.
Hey, it's only a matter of time for we really see some more stuff out of her.
Exactly.
So moving on to basketball, we noticed that Liz opted out for playing for the season, and Kelsey Plum won't be playing due to injury. But the Aces did pick up Alex Bentley. So could you describe what type of impact she can bring that can help you guys deliver a championship?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Bentley, man, she's always been a problem since she got in the league. I mean, I remember playing against her in Penn State. She's a bucket, man. She carries herself with swag. She has this energy about her where she always has the defense on her heels. We're excited to have her. She's another weapon. I think adding Angel in the offseason, and then now having her. Jackie Young has had to have a year under her belt. We're bringing back Lindsay Allen, Danielle Robinson. we still have a lot of weapons, and obviously we would love to have Liz and Kelsey with us. Those are my girls. I love them to death. Uh, but trying to move forward, I think having these pieces fit in with the experience that they have too. Like these aren't just rookies; these are WNBA All Stars. These are defensive players. These are scorers. These are bucket getters. These are winners. So I think adding these pieces alongside what we have, obviously with Asia Wilson, myself, it's gonna be really exciting. And we're not going in thinking anything less than winning and competing. And I'm just excited to get back with them. I feel so far away. I want to get to know my teammates and be around them. But no, I'm definitely looking forward to playing with Bentley. We've always had a mutual respect for each other. We've always been able to compete with each other. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see what happens.
With big championship aspirations, after last season, you guys lose to the Mystics in a very tough series. What have
Mhm.
you learned from not only that series but last season as a whole that can you guys bring forward to this season to ensure you guys win?
Well, I think number one is that it takes experience to win. And I think, after Washington had lost to Seattle, they came back a whole different team, a whole different mental toughness, a whole different swag about them because they had already known what it felt like. And I think for us, even though we're shorthanded, obviously we were missing two huge pieces. Taking what we learned and that experience, and even this time in quarantine, the mental aspect of it, and bringing that to this bubble, I'm excited to see how the pieces fall together because it's going to be difficult. Like losing one of the best players in the world, and probably one of the most improved players over the last year with Plum. We're going to lose like a big piece of us. But I'm excited to see who steps up. I'm excited to see who can carry that weight that they were carrying for us. So it starts from the top down, and we know that. And just trying to portray that this is who we are and this is who we're going to be for this time being. And go with that and be confident in that and have that swag with that because that's really what it is. And you have to bring that mental toughness. We already know what happened last year. We knew we may not have been as prepared for Washington as we wanted to be, but here we are now. And the scenes have changed. People have moved teams. Like everything is different now. And so I think that's how we have to treat it, as a clean slate, and just kind of move forward. But it's going to be a grind, and everybody's going to have to adjust a little bit, and that's just what we have to do as well.
That's fact. Given the situation that we're in, pretty much even playing field for everyone right now.
Right, yeah. And I mean, that's what makes it exciting. It's like rolling the ball out, really. It's really like playing pickup because, you're going to have people who have opted out. You're going to have people who have medical stuff. You're going to have people that maybe get sick. Well, I don't know. We don't know. And you know what I'm saying? And so I think that's the exciting part, and it's also the downfall too, because it's tough not to have your whole roster when you go into something like this. But also knowing that the world is so much bigger than our bubble, and knowing that things happen, it makes you have to focus in on the present and the now. And I think that's really what it's going to be every day in this bubble.
Hey, big facts over there.
Big facts.
So recently, before the original season was supposed to begin, the players union agreed to a new CBA, which was a great improvement for fixing the inequality for that was going on. Can you describe your thoughts on it and what could be done moving forward to reach closing that gap?
Yeah, so I think I was so thoroughly impressed with our union and our president, and just the way that we were able to continuously fight for the things that we felt like we deserved. We knew that it wasn't going to be, millions and millions and millions like off top, and we know that. We understand that. We understand we haven't been around as long as the NBA, and there's a million different reasons why we're different. But I think for who we are now in the world that we live in now, fighting for that equality for us as the 144 best players in the world, basketball players in the world, was huge. And knowing that the league respected that, the owners respected that, and we were able to find this mutual agreement where both sides were happy was huge. And it's a stepping stone, and that's how we're treating it. We know who we are as a league and as women, and on and off the court, and we know that our value. And I think that was just us standing up for our value. And I'm happy to say that I'm a part of this. It's 144 because it's different. You know what I'm saying? It's different when there's only 144 of you in the world. It's different. It feels different. And so I don't ever take it for granted. But just hearing those conversations and being on those phone calls, and just hearing the different voices across the league, um, it was amazing. And we're so much more than just numbers or on our back of our jersey. And I think coming together the way that we did for the CBA showed that. And like I said, it's a stepping stone, but it's a stepping stone in the right direction.
So what could you say that would be a great impact for younger women basketball players as you guys going through this with the new CBA? Obviously, it's going to be more eyes. So can you describe the impact on the younger generation?
Oh yeah, it's huge. And I had opportunity to work with Notre Dame this past off season, and just hearing them talk about the WNBA and how much they actually knew. Because maybe when I was in college, I'm not gonna lie to you, like I was focused on being in Notre Dame. I was focused on winning and going to Final Four and stuff. I wasn't watching the WNBA maybe as much as I should have. But now being a part of it and understanding the value of it, trying to teach them, like, look, if you want to get here, here's a roadmap, you know what I'm saying? And trying to show them the ways, and even just carrying myself in that way. I have a 14-year-old sister. I want her to play in this league one day. And, just like even just having her come to my workouts or watching and just knowing that even if I can rub off on her like just an ounce, whether it's confidence, whether it's a swag, whether it's tactical, X's and O's, whatever, that's that much better that our league will be in 10 years. And so just to be able to carry that torch and blaze that trail, I think we all feel responsibility to do it, whether it's in the community, whether it's in our on the court, whether it's there's so many different aspects that the women in our league are a part of. And I think we all feel entitled as women, and mostly African American women, but also athletes, to always, be able to humble ourselves to have that responsibility. And that's another reason why I've been so proud to be a part of this league, because everybody has their thing, that they're doing off the court. And it's so inspiring, even for me, like looking at my peers, you know what I'm saying? So be able to talk about these women who are doing these things to, the younger generation. It's like, man, well, I can do that too. Like, she went to Notre Dame too, or she went to Duke too, or she went to, UConn too. I can do that too. And I think that that's so huge, because you see more of us in the spotlight. You see Candace Parker on TNT. You see Chanae on ESPN. And I think that having those eyes on them like that, it makes everything so much more realistic and so much more possible. And, knowing that you're a part of that 144 that's allowing this next generation to make it so possible, it's huge.
That's really huge, because I know the theme of this time frame pretty much is representation. How important representation is, having a diverse group showing on whether it's on TV or whether it's in a workplace, having a diverse group of people, be able to see yourself, that goes a long way.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to ask you a couple more questions here. What's your favorite basketball shoe to hoop in? I know you've been going through so many different pairs.
Yeah. So it used to be the KD. Like, I used to love the KD. And we also had the same injury, like, early on in my career with his fifth metatarsal. So shoes just fit me right. Like, I loved it. But probably the last 2-3 years, I moved into the Paul George. Favorite shoe. The Paul George 4. I got some custom ones coming up for this season, like some Aces custom ones. So I'm really excited about that. He's a great dude. He asked me to be I got to be in his commercial a couple months ago. And I love his game. It's not even about anything else. Like, it was really just I love his game. I love how he carries himself on the court. Like a silent assassin. I love it. And he's just a good dude, So I love the shoes. They're comfortable. They're sticky, like, on the bottom, and they're snug. But yeah, it's my favorite shoe to hoop in right now.
Hey, shout out to PG real quick. One time.
Always.
I need to see those customs on Slam Kicks or something soon, man.
I got you. Don't worry.
I know you got some fits going on. Do you want to see you on League Fits too?
What'd you say? League Fits? I made some League Fits one time, I think, or twice, something like that. But yeah, no, maybe you will. Maybe not in the bubble, but for sure. Yeah, I got something for you.
Bet we got some drip coming from Kayla coming soon. Well, thank you, Kayla, for the interview. Pleasure having you here. Xavier Hunter. Please like, subscribe, check me out on my socials and comments below.